I love moments like this because it's proof that even when your football program season's not going the way that you hoped it would, that good things are still happening for the program overall, especially in the case of recruiting and especially in areas of great concern for us that we need help in the future. So today in this video, we're going to be breaking down the latest commitment to the Auburn recruiting class in a very key area, the offensive line, talking about who that is and the impact currently and in the future for Auburn football. Before we do that though, always want to remind you to make sure you smash the like button if you enjoy this type of content. We always want to thank members of our booster club as well, like John Stokes, who help produce videos like this. And obviously, as you watch the video, be sure to leave a comment about this particular topic and what you think his chances are of playing early on at Auburn. But who is that we're actually talking about? The latest commitment for the Auburn Tigers is offensive lineman Clay Wedin, a flip from Michigan State. Now, it's really interesting because to me, a flip is when they are still committed and you kind of get them to switch over immediately. That's what I think of as a flip, but it was such a short, time frame when this all happened, it still can be considered a flip in the recruiting cycle. So today, Friday, October 14th, Clay Wedin decided to flip officially from the Michigan State Spartans to the Auburn Tigers. This comes off of a visit he took for Auburn during the LSU week, and even during that loss, it made a huge impact on him, and he even has been quoted as saying he just felt like, the typical things we hear, it felt like home, this is where I belong. Those type of things are what he took away from his visit. Roughly about 9 days after that visit is when he decommitted from Michigan State. And about 4 days later to now, obviously today, is when he decided to make that flip, officially committing to the Auburn Tigers. The interesting thing about this is the first commit that the Auburn Tigers have had in almost a month, which the previous one was an offensive line too. I like the way that things are trending right now. A lot of people were going after this guy, not just Michigan State trying to keep him from flipping, but teams like Alabama, Georgia, his in-state schools like Florida and Florida State also wanted to complete the flip from Michigan State as well. But thankfully, the Tigers are the ones who are the benefit of the 3 to 4 star offensive linemen, depending on who you look at for your recruiting services, listed as an offensive tackle in high school, probably interior when he gets to college. The Carrollwood Day High School product is listed at about 290 to 295 pounds, 6'6", and as I said, probably going to be an interior lineman when he gets here to Auburn, obviously assuming he completes the flip and ends up signing here on signing day. Just some stats to help you get a grasp of what he's been involved in as an athlete overall at his high school. In 2021, he helped Carrollwood go to a 7-3 record, and their run game averaged 159.2 yards per game. Always hard to kind of grasp the stats for these non-skill positions, but at least gives you what he's been involved in and helped contributed to in terms of his high school. Now, this is the part of the video where we like to talk about what it means for Auburn overall. And we'll talk about the present right now with the recruiting class. This is the 11th overall commit for the Tigers, the 6th on offense, the 3rd offensive lineman, and the 2nd technically interior lineman if the assumptions are correct about where he will be playing overall. The other 2 offensive lineman recruits are Janoris Wilson and Braden Joyner, who's been there since day 1 of the 2023 class. And in terms of what it means currently for recruiting this cycle, we all know that the emphasis has to be on offensive linemen. And what we've seen from the very get-go is a process maybe of building from the inward part outward. So now you got Braden Joyner, who's likely going to be playing your center position, but is still just considered an overall interior offensive lineman. Same thing with these guys, but you could expect probably if we kind of carry that out, they might be the guard positions. And that's not just to assume that these guys are going to walk in here from day 1 and be the starting offensive lineman, but you can see how the plan is in place to build the future of what needs to happen for the offensive line around some of these recruits. Also want to talk about what it means for the future here at Auburn. And I always stress to consider recruits being possibly a redshirt, but this is one area, as we even addressed in our last video of a commit, about there is ample opportunity for playing time. That doesn't necessarily mean starting, but playing time right now. And that's because of the depth chart, but also the production that hasn't been there from the offensive line over the last couple of seasons, even if a lot of them were sticking around. Really, it's whoever wants the job and can get the job done best at this point. But there is going to be a lot of vacancies at the end of this year. I think about 7 total. It's either seniors, redshirt seniors, graduates that are going to be leaving and not coming back to Auburn in all likelihood. So just from that alone, I'm not expecting this guy to redshirt. I'm expecting him to jump right in and be a contributing factor. Who knows, maybe even a starting job for him too. And I always like to talk about in terms of what it means about the battleground states and keeping perspective of where we're drawing recruits from. We've always talked about Alabama obviously being your bread and butter, Georgia right there, but Florida being that third part of the trifecta in terms of making that an importance in your recruiting cycle each year. And yet another one comes from the state of Florida. This is the fourth one to come from the state of Florida. We've got Wilkie Denon, DeQuavius Story. You also had Janoris Wilson, and now another offensive lineman in Clay Wedin deciding to come to the Auburn Tigers. They are making a good job of going into this state all across it, up and down, and getting the talent that they need to fill the specific roles. And lastly, we want to think about in terms of what it means for the rest of the recruiting class. We all know, as I've already said, and you've already thought about and probably commented about already, offensive line, we need more of them. I would suspect that you are going to see many more. I don't know what that many actually looks like, but my hope is at least 2 more, if not more than that, because just from the depth issues that we talked about alone, we're going to need as much help as we can get. It's time to restart fresh, and I'm getting really excited about these 3 guys, but more specifically for this video, Clay Wedin as well, and what they mean for the future of Auburn's offensive line, offense, and team. So that's my thoughts on the commitment of Clay Wedin. Very happy to have you as part of the Auburn family, and hopefully we'll have you signing on actual National Signing Day. No more flipping, that Michigan State flipping stuff. That was your last one. That's the only one that you get, my friend. Let me know your thoughts about him in the comments section below. Let's keep the conversation going down there. On your way out, though, I always remind you to make sure you smash the like button if you enjoyed this. Also, make sure you subscribe along with hitting that notification bell so you don't miss any uploads or live streams. There's ways to help support our content listed in the description, such as hitting the join button here to become a channel member. We appreciate you tuning into the E2C network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. War Eagle.